Welcome. Today I wanted to talk about a slightly deeper topic than the surface level observations and sights that we can see in this current US-Iran war on planet Earth. It's currently March 31st, 2026. Now, something that I want to highlight to you, in addition to what you might be seeing in case you're a Muslim or you're from that part of the world or you're aligned with that faith and you're saying, oh wow, the US and Israel, they're bombing us again. Or you might be observing the US and Israel and going, oh wow, they're attacking the rest of the planet again, and so on and so forth. What I want to bring to your attention, in addition to those surface level observations, is that if you're actually listening, which you might not be, and that's completely fine if you only have time for the mass media as your news after your workday, completely understandable. But what you might be missing is that the actual people who've lived in Persia and Iran for the last hundreds, and might I say thousands of years, because if you look at previous historic stories, it's the same thing, are all actually trying to say that they are welcoming the bombing. There's actually clips of Persians and Iranians saying they are welcoming the bombing because they would possibly get free from a regime and a bunch of rulers who are really, really oppressive. And I don't want my podcast to get flagged for sensitive content or abusive content, so I'm not going to use cuss words. But me saying the word oppressive is a rather large understatement. What they actually do is they shoot people, they rape people, they kill people, they hang people simply for doing things that they do not like. And that is the honest truth. And this is news that has been coming out of Iran and Persia for decades now. And now you may think, or one may say, that, well, yeah, that's how a country works. You disobey the laws, that's what happens. But think about this for a second. What are those laws? They're not laws like in most peace-loving countries and societies. Let me give you an example of the country I live in, Singapore. It's not a law where it's like, oh, you sold drugs. And by the way, I disagree with the death penalty completely, but let me give you one of the graver, more harsher laws in Singapore. It's not like they're saying, okay, you sold drugs, you had a lot of drugs in your possession, you sold them illegally, and you kept doing it even after we told you not to. Now we got to give you the death penalty, right? Singapore has very strong laws around drugs. And the reasoning for that the government keeps saying, which a lot of Western journalists and media disagree with, is that it destroys the lives of everyone who comes into contact with those things. Now, that is a very harsh law. In Singapore, I find the death penalty. Let's take something but you can hopefully see what I'm saying, which is that it is a law because it destroys society, those actions that you might do, and then they give you the death penalty. Let me give you a slightly less harsh one. You cross the road when it's not, or you speed rather, because I've been caught for this before. You're speeding on the expressway. All city people are in a rush to get here and there. You're speeding on the expressway. You get some demerit points for your license. You might get a fine. Those are the kinds of laws in civilized societies today in 2026. But the laws, however, in Iran, that we hear that they got prosecuted for or killed for or raped for and then shot in their private parts for, is ridiculous. Laws like, you're not wearing this dress from this religion correctly over your head. I mean, that is pure ridiculousness. I don't think even in the I was about to say that's a Stone Age law, but I just realized even in the Stone Age, things were probably more natural than they are now because we moved as one with nature. So you would probably wear things in very different ways and your hair would probably be flying in the desert winds. So I'm not sure where they got this into their head from, but that is, me personally, I'm not sure, but it is rather archaic and ridiculous. I've also seen and heard accounts of people getting nabbed up and thrown into prisons, and then, all of the above which I described gets done to them there, just for public displays of affection, kissing on the streets, saying something untowards towards the ruling regime there, which is the IRGC, by the way. For those of you who don't know, that's the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. That's what they call themselves. Probably from somewhere in their religion, I assume They have good intelligence and reasoning to call themselves that, which also makes me wonder what's actually happening with Islam, which is going to be another episode. So I'd like to bring your attention to these matters, that they can just call anybody who protests as well. By the way, one more thing, they can just they call anybody who protests against them in their country an enemy of the state, and they hang them. They try them. I don't even know if they try them because we don't get news of the trials, but they hang them. And that sounds a little out of touch with reality, evolution, spirituality, consciousness, and just love and kindness on planet Earth today. And so I wanted to put this episode out and bring this to your attention, that several hundred, I think thousands at this point, of Iranians and Persians who are in touch with their families there, who have actually lived there before but escaped. In their own words, it's escaped. If it was such a nice regime, why would they have to escape? Why would they use the word escape, right? These are all intelligent people who've gone on to be scholars, doctors, and so on in different countries. So, and I don't mean some random country where there's, no proper education. I mean in actual huge countries with solid education like the United States and so on. So my point being, do know that this bombing and this attack on Iran, while there may be ulterior motives by the US, Israel, and so on, and that's understandable as well. Nobody's saying that you're lying. Do understand that a lot of the people who live there are actually welcoming the bombing. They are so desperate to get rid of these rulers that they are welcoming the bombing. Let that sink in for a while. I'll leave you with that. See you on the next episode. This has been Zephyr Khambatta for the Zephyr Khambatta podcast.